Okay, Thomas Jefferson as our third president of the United States. Now remember, Jefferson is also a Democratic Republican. So Jefferson's presidency is going to look much different than an Adams presidency, who John Adams is our second president, who was a Federalist. Remember, the Democratic Republicans led by Jefferson and James Madison wanted limited federal government and more of a state government. He is anti-national bank. Remember, we'll be looking at that. He will eventually crush the bank. Believes in a southern, more of a farming agrarian type of economy, and is more apt to be allied with the French and not the British. Jefferson and Burr tie for the presidency. Both are Democratic Republicans. The tie is eventually broke in Jefferson's favor by Alexander Hamilton, actually, who persuades people of Congress to vote for Jefferson instead of Burr, because Hamilton believed neither one of them were very good, but believed that Jefferson was better equipped to be the president than Aaron Burr was. We'll actually talk about the Hamilton-Burr, the duel, after the notes today. You can see Jefferson on the right here. If we're looking at the two maps, Jefferson is a two-term president. In 1800, defeats Adams pretty handily. After the Alien and Sedition Acts and some of those things, people are ready for a change. So he wins in 1800 and then wins by an absolute landslide in 1804. So he is a two-term president. It is the first peaceable transfer of political power. Remember, Adams was a Federalist. Jefferson is a Democratic Republican. So we're moving from an Adams presidency to a Jefferson presidency. Jefferson's philosophy to the White House, to government, is much different than the Federalist philosophy, remember, which was very much government controlled. People in government were more educated. They were better equipped to make decisions than the common man, and therefore they should make them on behalf of the common man. Jefferson is going to believe in a laissez-faire type of government, which means hands-off. Basically, the government should stay out of the way and let the people do what is best. They know better for their specific area and for their whatever their job is specifically. The idea of the midnight judges, as Adams is leaving the presidency, basically the night before Adams is to go out, Jefferson is going to become the president the next day. Adams tries to pack the federal court system with Federalist judges. Jefferson refuses to recognize these judges, never signs their paperwork, never allows them to take their jobs as judges. John Marshall, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, sides with Jefferson. The big thing I want you to get out of all of this is the case Marbury versus Madison. You can see here, establishes the principle of judicial review. I want you to highlight that note, and then I want you to draw an arrow to the case Marbury versus Madison. This is what we get out of that case, that the Supreme Court has the power of judicial review, that they can rule on any law passed by Congress or the President and can declare any of those laws unconstitutional if they believe that they are. And that is what they do here in the case of the midnight judges. They believe that the Judiciary Act that Adams tries to pass to pack the court with these judges is unconstitutional. The Louisiana Purchase. If you're looking at the map to your right, you can see the huge green area there in the middle of the country is all owned by France. France is at war at this point in time and doesn't need the land as much as they need the money to fight in the war that they are in. So they sell what is known as the Louisiana Purchase to the United States for $15 million. If you're looking at this piece of land on the map to your right, this is going to double the size of the United States of America. Okay. Not long after Jefferson and the United States purchases this land, Jefferson hires two men, Lewis and Clark, which is their last names, Meriwether Lewis, and I don't know Clark's first name, to lead an expedition to gather all information about the West, what type of animals, gold, whatever, Indians, what is the land good for, and especially looking for an all-water route across the United States, which they do not find. A very important person on this expedition that saved Lewis and Clark's behind more than once was an Indian named Sacagawea, because she could interpret between the Indian tribes and the Americans, which saved them from being massacred by several different Indian tribes along the way. Indian conflicts, I've said this before, 669 treaties with the Indians, and the United States broke all 669. Tecumseh's League, basically Tecumseh tried to unite all the Indians instead of several different tribes. It didn't matter if you were Sioux, Iroquois, Catawba, Cherokee. He wanted to unite all the Indian tribes as one to fight against white settlement. U.S. neutrality between Britain and France is the United States is still trying to stay neutral between the two countries. Both sides are making this very difficult. Remember, we talked about the XYZ affair yesterday with France. Now Britain is starting to do the same thing. The British began this tactic of impressment of sailors, which basically means if they were to board an American ship at sea, they would take the U.S. Sailors or soldiers, whichever they may be, and force them to work in the British Navy. Obviously, this infuriates the United States and almost drives us to the brink of war, which we will go to war a little bit later. Thomas Jefferson, trying to put pressure on the British to basically leave us alone, passes an embargo act, which means that we would not trade with Great Britain. However, this kind of backfires as it hurts American businesses more than it hurts British businesses. A vocabulary word here to be looking at is war hawks. These are people that wanted war. At this point in time, they want war with Great Britain. We'll use the words hawks and doves quite a bit during American history. Doves, obviously, someone who is against war, and the hawk is someone who is for war. So here again, we are almost at the brink of war again with the British, which we will see. We do end up going to war with them in 1812 for a short amount of time.